G'day listeners, it's Peps again, and now we have for you the 2022 season preview for the mighty Brisbane Lions. Will it be the season that this group of terrifying cats roar to premiership victory, or will they be pussy minnows and not achieve any success whatsoever? Look, I'm not the man to go through this. I have to hand it to the expert. Listen, the feedback that we got about this guy last year was over the top. They said, we want him back. There's only one bloke that we want back. We want Brooksy back. So I've got him back. James Brooks, everybody. He's back. The season 22. Welcome to Lace Out.
It's good to be back. And did you ever think this time last year when we were having a chat that the D's would eventually get away with the jockeys?
I can tell you what, there's two people in the room and it wasn't you that was extremely surprised at the end of the year, all right? Look, it was just one of those things. Our teams met up in the final series last year, and I think due to a couple of misdemeanors in that final, the result could have been completely different. Charlie Cameron absolutely tore us a new one in that first quarter. But there was a key injury that happened, and I think that made it too hard to climb back.
100%.
And then you have that absolute ball burster of a game against the Doggies, which I'll get your feedback on as well, which very, very stiff not to lose. And Mr. Ice in his veins went early one week, Bailey Smith, and didn't do a thing in the grand final. So it melted. Hey, how do you see the Lions looking like 2022? Let's just get straight into it. What are your thoughts, opinions? What are you hearing? What's on the grapevine?
Feeling good. I went to a couple of intra clubs over the last couple of weeks and everything looks good. I don't know. I was cautiously optimistic last year, but I'm a bit more like it's got to be this year or next year, I think, if we want to really contend with the list we've got. But there's a handful of teams that can really get there again, including yours again. So it's going to be tough, but I think we're in with a good shot this year, I hope.
And look, I really appreciate you saying that because it's not very often that we roll these season previews out saying, yeah, there are a few teams that can win it, including yours. I haven't heard that before, so I'm just enjoying it for what it is. But look, your team were awesome last year. Went 15-7. Zorko takes out another BNF, which is his fifth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you went Sam Stozer, straight sets in that final series, which has happened a couple of times now, and it's a little bit concerning. But you have got a great list, and you look at some of these names that you've got there. You've got the shotgun master himself, Reith Matheson, the person everybody loves to hate. But just, Zorko, McCluggage, Rayner will hopefully come back. Zorko, Brandon Starcevic has been magnificent. The serial pest in Mitch Robinson, he's there as well too. Birchall, unfortunately, goes, which makes it a little bit different. You've got a bloody Brownlow medalist from a couple of years back. What more can, Lockie Neal, I forgot his name, but I've remarked it. Zach Bailey, what more can this group of collective Lions do to take out What's the missing ingredient?
Staying on the park.
Yep.
Staying on the park is the big one. We've been pretty good with the injuries the last couple of years. Last year, obviously, you asked me this time last year, who's going to have a breakout season? Who's it going to be? And I said Cam Rayner, and then 2 hours later, he blew his knee out. So that was...
You did say that.
Nice
you did say that.
So if we can get Rayner to stay on the park, Hipwood should come back between round 5 and 10, just keeping people fit, and then just decision-making in key moments. That's what let us down. As you alluded to, when we played you guys, McStay went down with that caved-in head, and we just didn't know what to do from there because we had no one to kick it to. We just relied on an old game plan that relied on McStay being there, and he just wasn't there. So we coughed up against you. Cracking game the following week against the Dogs where we lost by a point, and I've been crying ever since.
And it's kind of interesting. You'd say that, but it's not about the prelim. I reckon the prelim is the toughest loss because whatever happens we saw what happens on grand final day. Anything can happen, but actually just getting there is the tough one. And to go out the way you did, absolute shocker. And so especially the way that it all eventuated towards the back end was really tough. But the thing is that you had the highest percentage of all the clubs last year as well too. So you have got the firepower up front. And I think when Hipwood went down, from an outsider's perspective, I reckon that's where your season went backwards. Rayner, yes, But when Danaher and Hipwood were together, that's two pretty athletic blokes that a back line has to cover. And for a good portion of the season, they weren't able to do that. When he went down, it's all the pressure back on the Danaher. And it was very similar to Aaron Norton when Bruce went down. Just wasn't able to handle it as well as you would have liked. And that means that there's other people that have to try and stand up and make up for those goals that Hipwood made. So fingers crossed, get him on the park and keep him up until at least preliminary final weekend, and the result will be, fingers crossed, you've got one extra week.
Yeah,
so what have you seen? Yeah, so what's caught your eye so far? You've been to a couple intra clubs. Who's caught your eye? Who do the Brisbane supporters out there need to be excited about?
I'm loath to say Cam Rayner again after what happened last year.
No. He's not listening to this, so there's no jinx at all.
No, he's looking really good. Nakia Cockatoo with a full preseason under his belt looks really good as well. He's been playing in the likely versus unlikely starting 22. He's been playing in the likely, and he's lost a bit of weight, getting to contests, exploding out of packs. He's looking really, really good. And Lachie Neale, now that I know it's hard to say that he's going to go to another level because he's already got a Brownlow, but last year was well below his efforts. He had a foot and a shoulder and a back and an ankle. But he's looking really good. He's lost a few kilos as well. And we'll see. Hopefully between Rayner, Neale, Cockatoo, that's really strengthened up our midfield. And I'm looking forward to Zach Bailey taking another step as well.
Well, I had him down. So I had Bailey down. You can't ask for much more from people when I say can't ask for much more, you can't be happier than what Lincoln McCarthy's been able to produce. Jared Lyons, considering that you got him for a packet of steak knives and a Sunny Boy, basically got him for nothing. But then you've got to love one of the best names in the AFL, McCluggage.
Yeah, Bags.
How is McCluggage just comes second in the BNF and doesn't lose it by much? Like he was going to be a good player, but he's just getting better and better. He's got a big rig that he can actually, which actually gets him through games as well too and protects him. What are the hopes for this guy? Is he a future captain? I'm going to go throw it that far. Is he the future captain for your mob?
I think Harris Andrews will be next captain, and I think Jared Berry will probably take the mantle after that, if not like some sort of co-captain situation. But the Bags has been in the leadership group for a while. He's the closest thing to Simon Black that I can remember, just the way he moves through contests, his delivery inside 50. The only thing that has let him down is his finishing. He chokes in front of goals. I think he kicked 18-32 so that's the only thing he really needs to work on, and from all accounts that's what he has been working on. But once you're in a game situation, it's completely different. So
turn that around. You turn that to 32-18. Yeah, if you turn that to 32-18 off a wing, that's getting to all Australian.
Well, if they put wingers in, maybe.
Oh yeah, don't start me on that. Yeah. It's like the Brownlow. Don't bother even going unless you play in the middle of the ground anymore. Now, you mentioned Harris Andrews. There was a bit of talk towards the end of last year or whatever that, I want to say, is his heart in it all there? It was, he's not going right. He tends to have a bit of the sooks and so forth, etc. Is that just all media beat up, or was there a little bit, if you know what I'm saying, was there a little bit of smoke to that fire?
I think he got easily frustrated, especially towards the back end of that year. He did a knee against Adelaide, but sort of pushed through it. It was sort of like a mid-tier PCL. And that kept him, and he, in turn, I guess he overcompensated, did something to his ankle. So he wasn't getting to contests, wasn't doing all the stuff that we know that Harris Andrews can do, taking those intercept marks and sagging off his man and really making an impact. So he knew that, was getting pretty pissed off with himself. And I think in turn it did sort of spill into a little bit of crying over spilt milk type behaviour. But hopefully not the case this year.
But that's frustrations though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. When you're frustrated, and we've all been through it, even from a work perspective, sport perspective, when your body's not doing what you want it to do, or your performance isn't where you want it to be, and you're trying everything you possibly can, you just can't get to know what you want to produce. Of course, the frustrations. The thing is that you're in the middle of an oval where everybody can see you, and you've got a high-def camera focusing on everything that you're doing. It's going to get stand. And then you've got people who are grandstand experts who are willing to give their opinion on everything, it just gets raked over the coal. So look, there probably was a little bit to it, but you don't see everything that sits under it. So Charlie Cameron. I can see the smile on your face when I say the words Charlie Cameron. How good has this guy been for your mob?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, we've brought in a few players over the years, like you mentioned Lions before, but you speak to any kid up here in Brisbane and that is remotely interested in footy, and the first question or the person they like is automatically Charlie Cameron. He puts bums on seats, and when he's hot, as you know.
Oh, we know. We saw it first. When he's hot, he's hot. And then when he's not, he's not.
Yeah, and he can get a big case of the sooks. If things aren't going his way, his body language changes immediately, and he starts playing for frees and all that sort of stuff, which I'd like for him to get out of his game. But I mean, it's a package deal. When he's
take
good,
the with the bad, don't you?
He's really good.
Yeah, you got to take the. Hey, Lloyd, he did it for years, and he turned into a Hall of Famer. So if he keeps, listen, you're going to get away with some of them. You're going to not. You're right. You got to take the good with the bad. Everybody has, for all their audits. Hey, Clayton Oliver, perfect example. Absolute gun in the midfield. Apparently couldn't kick. Now he's been able to develop his game. It can happen. Just need the right people to talk to, etc. Now, Chris Fagan, how much pressure's on Fags? Because he's been able to get you to prelims and not being able to take that next step where there's been other clubs that have been able to. Always at this time of the year, they're talking about clubs that have their coaches under most pressure. And for whatever reason, because in my eyes, he saved the Brisbane Lions to a degree when he got up there. What's the feeling up there regarding Chris Fagan? And
everybody loves Fags.
Yep.
Everybody loves Fags.
What I love about him. Tell us what we're not hearing.
Oh, he's your dad. He's everyone's dad. He's just a nice old gentleman, loves going for a walk, always happy to say g'day to everyone. He's got it, like, as you said, he saved the club. He's got enough credits in the bank that even if we go out in straight sets again this year, I don't think anyone's going to turn on him horribly. Like, you look at Chris Scott and, there's enough Geelong supporters out there that have had enough of Chris Scott, but he keeps getting them to finals. So I don't know that he's under a huge amount of pressure, but I suppose if we do go out in straight sets again or fail to win a final, especially on our home turf, then there will be some questions raised, but I don't think there's going to be anything serious.
But I think last year's final series, you were stiff. You were stiff in the first final against the D's. Like you said, McStay goes down and then it just leaves a massive hole in your forward line. Puts all the pressure once again back on Dana Hurd to save that. And at that stage, Charlie Cameron was on fire. He was lighting it up. Lachie Neale didn't get a touch for the first half and still ended up with 40 plus for the game. And then you go and play the Doggies, and with a couple of minutes, you're in front. You're pretty much looking to be playing the D's the week later, and Bailey Smith on his left from the boundary slots one, and then you get one, and then it just that final drag race between Duray and was it Charlie?
And it was Chuck.
Yeah. That final drag race at the end, I thought he was going to burn off Duray right at the end. He just couldn't get to where it was. Were you at the game?
I was at the game, unfortunately. Yep. And generally when you see Charlie one-on-one running back towards a ball, you back him in 9 times out of 10. So I can only imagine how Taylor Duray was feeling in that moment.
Yep.
I think I saw a little bit of poo come out.
Every backman who's ever been in that situation, it is the loneliest place you can be because everything has to go right for you not to be getting a spray from the coach at the end of the day. And like I said, they got him across the line. Didn't really help a week later, though, but we could go on. We could talk about that another day. Hey, Dane Zorko, are you surprised that he's had 5 BNFs?
I mean, a lot of those BNFs were when you could have won one, to be fair, Peps. We had.
Oh, that's a bit rough. I've got 3 coaches awards.
I mean, it didn't take a whole lot to win a BNF. Like, he started in 2012 when we had the likes of Brent Maloney come up and Trent West decided to come up and play footy. We were sort of like the footballer's graveyard then. Anyone could have got a game. So that's not to take away from the ones that he's thoroughly deserved. He has been the best player for us in a long time, but in a crew of not much else. So to win one last year is probably the best achievement, because I thought Jared Lyons probably should have taken that away. I thought he was the most consistent.
Yep.
But he just keeps on keeping on. I think he's set to be captain again, and I'm hoping that these rumours are true, that he's been playing a couple of inch clubs off the halfback, and I think that'll suit him quite well.
Yeah. How will it suit him? Because obviously we only see him on broadcast normally when we play our teams. You see him week in, week out, moving from a midfielder, because let's be honest, midfielders don't want to get out of that midfield when they've been there for so long. That's my house, my friend. You're not taking it. To be pushed to half back, how is that going to help him, but more importantly, from a team perspective?
I think that's just something Fags has been looking for a long time, is that sort of speed and dash off the halfback that we haven't quite found. Kadeem Coleman's sort of made a bit of a spot there. He's got good kicking, but Zorko's got the speed, he's got good decision-making and can kick a nice ball. It will then free up another midfield spot for Jared Berry or Cam Rayner or Zach Bailey to move in there and get that speed in there as well.
Yep.
I just think his one-on-one defense might be a bit of an issue, but that's why we've got Andrews, Gardner and Marcus Adams to sort of play those floating roles and take those intercept marks. But I think it's just the line-breaking effort for Zorko that'll be good.
Oh, nice. Is he deceptively quick?
Oh, yeah. He's tiny. I guess I'm hoping he'll play that Caleb Daniel style role. His foot use won't be as good, but he's got the footy smarts and he's got a bit of line-breaking ability.
Because it does at times look like he's running in a trench. Like he hasn't exactly got the longest legs, you must admit. So it is he is quick. I never thought that he'd be quick, but hey, if it works, and like you said, that's where games are being won now off halfback, which you would never thought, because that's where teams want to load up. Every team who's been a premiership team in the last 5 years has had an absolute beast off halfback. Okay, Johannesson in 2016, Richmond had Basher Hooley coming off there. They had, I forgot about West Coast, but don't worry about Wet Toast. Melbourne had Salem coming off there as well too. So if you've got a gun halfback who can distribute, you're in a really good spot, which is awesome.
And that's always been Rich. That's always been Daniel Rich, but he's slow as a wet fortnight. So to have Zorko with similar capabilities but a bit of speed will be super handy.
But when Daniel Rich can be slow, because he kicks the ball 87 metres, which no one can outrun anybody. He kicks him 87 and about 5 metres off the ground. You don't have to be quick because you're getting the ball down there quick. He's a machine. How many games is he up to now? Would he be close to 250?
I think he may have pushed past 250. He'd be around the 250 mark for sure.
That is awesome, because he's also. I could be wrong. He's done a knee? Has he done a knee, or has he had a pretty? Yeah, he did a knee, didn't he?
Yeah. 2014 missed the whole year with that knee.
So to get to 250, he's been a very consistent player for you, and he's almost turned himself around a little bit, because he was very midfieldy. Very midfieldy. Has gone to halfback, and he's your key kicker-outerer out of fullback as well too. Because like I said, when you can ping that thing as far as he can and as strong as he can, why wouldn't you be?
It's a thing of beauty.
And the hair. That hair just flows. That's another thing as well too. All right, so looking at your group for this year, who's going to be the breakout for you? Who's going to be the one that's going to set the lights on fire for the Lions in 2022 that maybe not many people know about?
Well, you did sort of touch on him, and he did get a little bit of recognition last year, but I really think Brandon Starcevic should be suiting up for an All-Australian year this year. He's one-on-one defense down the back. He's taken on the best small forwards in the comp, doesn't like losing a contest, just a good old-fashioned footballer, which there aren't too many left of. He's got the footy brain.
His old man.
Yeah.
He's like his old man. Like, he looks like his old man. He plays like his old man. He's just an honest footballer. And he was one that you could see he was growing in confidence as the weeks went on. And even in the final series, he wasn't the worst floating around in your final series, but at all.
No, not at all. And he's only 3, maybe 4 seasons in. So I'm pretty excited for what he can produce after another full preseason. Noah Answorth is coming back after 2 years with a groin. So he should add a bit of speed into that back line as well. And Nakia Cockatoo, I'm really excited to see what Nakia Cockatoo. We all know he's got all the potential in the world, but just has never been able to stay on the park. So he's got a full preseason under his belt, and he's capable of anything.
And what's really cool about Nakia Cockatoo is there's a guy in Ohio, in the US, Craig Wessels, host of a Yank on the Footy podcast.
Yep.
That is his favourite player, Nakia Cockatoo. He's a Geelong supporter. And when I said, so who's your favourite player? He goes, Nakia Cockatoo. And that's not the best accent. But I'm like, hold on. You could have picked anybody from Geelong and you picked him out. He goes, yeah, I just like the way he handled himself. And it's a shame that he went to Brisbane. Like, my heart was torn when he went to Brisbane. And I've never heard that about Nakia Cockatoo because there was a lot of raps on him. He's a big unit, can play, just hasn't had the greatest run with injury. And finally, we might be able to get there, which is going to be pretty cool.
Oh, fingers crossed. We've been able to do it so far with Link McCarthy and Joe Danaher. Yep. So hopefully Nakia can follow suit.
Rightio. So obviously we've got the breakout. Who's the breakdown? Who is it like they're going to get the tap on the shoulder? Fags is going to have a chat to him and say, look, I'm sorry, mate. It's your last season. We can't get any more out of you. Who's it going to be?
Not that he's not playing bad footy, but I think Robbo has set himself up for a life after footy quite well. And I think that wing spot should open up for someone like a Jackson Pryor or someone a bit younger to start making their way through. I think it'll be Robbo's last year. Maybe, unfortunately, Ryan Lester, who's been a fantastic clubman, nice utility, good footballer, but just struggles to get in the 22. Yep. I think those are probably the two main ones from our best 22. There'll be people that have played the odd game here and there that'll be shoved off, but no one too of note.
So Mitchie's there for 2022. Lester's out of contract. Where do you see someone like Marcus Adams? Because he was stiff not to play in a flag with the Doggies back in 2016. He's come up to your club. He was looking really good. Gets injured again, unfortunately. It's almost like the tail of the tape for this bloke because he's actually a big unit. He's a big man to get around and he slots in nicely. Is he going to, do you see him locking down? It's a bit hard to lock down that full back spot because you've got Harris Andrews there. But where do you sort of see him as that seventh backman, or is he just there as if something goes wrong, we've got that backup? He's the spare tyre.
No, I think Marcus Adams is best 22 week in, week out because what he does, between him and Gardiner, they can take the key positions, which does allow Harris to sort of float a little bit and take those intercept marks. I think that's the way Fagan likes to play Harris. So that when someone like Marcus Adams or Dizzy Gardiner does go down, then a Jackson Payne comes in and hopefully fills that gap. But Marcus Adams is a jet. He rarely loses a one-on-one. He's, as you said, he's carved of marble. He's a strange dude. Marcus Adams.
You keep going.
When he first moved up, they offered him these people have got rooms if you want to stay with them, like members of the leadership group or teammates or whatever. And he goes, no, I prefer to live on my own. And then apparently the word is he spends his nights just walking the streets and he's just like a big, deep thinker. Doesn't sleep too much, just loves to walk the streets at night on his own and get some high quality thinking done. He's a weird cat. But hey, if he's playing good footy, I don't care.
If he's playing good footy, crikey, every club's got one. Danny Southern did that for many, many years. He had a head like a beaten favourite. And was a stablemate down at the back line for the Doggies for many years. Is there somebody that we don't know about? Because I'm looking at your list of players this year, and is there anybody on the list at the moment that may not be front of mind when it comes to starting 22, etc. But by the end of the year, you think that, hey, this guy, I've seen him, and I know you said Rayner, but obviously be coming back from me. But is there somebody there that you go, I can see something in this kid? He's going to be pushing 22. 23.
Yeah, the two that come to mind are Kadeen Coleman, who started in the forward line and then probably the last 6 or 7 games moved back last year and just slotted in seamlessly.
Yep.
Good distributor by foot. It was probably one of our best performers in the finals, actually. So I think a full season playing down back. And the other one that I mentioned before, Noah Answorth, 2 years out with a groin. He was captain of the Oakley Chargers, then fractured his spine, took a year off, came up, then did his groin. But his ball use is a bit poo, but he's going to be a really great footballer.
And you've got some cracking names on here. You've got the Berry Boys. I do like the Berry Boys, I must admit. Zach Bailey. Like, you look at some of these names and it's almost, they're not world beaters, but they, as a collective, they're just a strong unit, the Lions. I've got them again, top 4, locked in. No doubt about it. You've got the Gabba factor, which is hard in itself, but you go through these names and yes, you've got a lot of that experience, but I don't see any real weak points. It just looked like a strong, tight unit led by a guy that people want to play for.
Yeah.
And that's what you need.
It's nice, actually. It's been the first year in a while that I've tried to put the 22 together before the season start, and it's been a bit of a struggle, and there's some good footballers missing out. So it's a nice problem to have.
Yep. Who's going to be the sad story, do you think, for 2022? I know you mentioned you think that there's going to be a couple of people finishing up at the end of the year, and that's through no fault of their own. You know, Mitch Robinson as an example. But who's going to be the stiff one that you think that, oh, mate, you're going to struggle to get in, which you would have thought might have been a shoe-in many, last year, even the year before?
I think Callum Archie, who's been like starting 22 for the last couple of years, I don't have him anywhere near our best 22 at the moment. And as you mentioned, the Berry Boys, I don't think Tom Berry, I love the way Tom Berry plays footy.
Yep.
His attack on the ball is amazing, but I can't see him breaking into that 22 unless we really get smashed with injuries. And Jack Payne, as we know, is a high-quality key defender. I wouldn't be surprised if he asked for a trade at the end of the year.
Interesting. Think about that.
And any team that may pick him up is going to get a roll.
Nice. And you've still got a couple of people that, they're going to be there at least this year and next year, like Reece Matheson is there. He's going to be at least for another couple of years. So is he just depth at this stage?
He knows he's the first one in.
Yep.
So if Neil goes down, if Lyons goes down, if Zorko goes down, then Reece Matheson's first one in. He got offered a 4-year deal by the Suns. And if I were him, I probably would have taken that for good money. But he's a good club and a loyal footballer, and he wanted to stick around. So he knows what the deal is.
Yep.
And as you said, he's the guy everyone loves to hate. If he wasn't on my team, I couldn't stand the bloke. But he's on my team, so I love him.
His nickname has to be Daffy, isn't it? It's got to be Daffy Duck, because the way that he just head down all the time, playing for frees. I remember his first game he played against the D's. I think it might have been round 1 or round 2 a number of years ago at the G. It was his first game, and he was just ducking. And the MCG was going to explode that day. And he pulled out the shotgun, and so the hate factor went up another 100%. It was out of control. Alrighty. I said it last year, and we're going to do it again. We're putting the agates on the chopping board. We're putting your reputation at stake here. Sir, Mr. Brooks, who is your premier for 2022?
I have to choose one, hey?
No, you can choose a couple. Because it may not be as easy as people think, because that's happened previously on a couple where I've got one that stands out, but this wouldn't surprise me.
Dogs, Port and us. Like, I think us and Port, we've got a great rivalry over the years, going back to 2004 and even before that with that three-peat. We knocked Port Adelaide out a few times. So I think us and Port will be up there. I think the Dogs will want to be up there again.
Yep.
The only reason I'm not saying Melbourne is because it's hard to go back-to-back, but it can obviously be done. And I think Richmond will be back, but I don't think they'll be a super threat to the premiership.
I like the honesty. And it's an easy go with the reigning premier. You're right. It's hard to go back-to-back. I think the only thing that's a little bit different is they didn't play it at Melbourne. They didn't play it at the G. So I think that they're really hungry for that. But when you look at those three teams, Dogs, Port and Brisbane, chuck the D's in there, you've got my top 4 already for my later prediction. And I don't think it's it's virtually going to be the same. The difference being the Doggies scraping in, because remember they fell out in the last round last year. And
I do. Great game for Brisbane.
Yeah, exactly right. So I definitely think that'll be the top four. And it'd be actually kind of nice to have them swapped around the other way. So Melbourne play Port first time round and you play the Dogs and sort of swing it and see how that sort of rolls out. But let's not count the chickens too early. Coleman medalist, my friend. Who's going to be your Coleman medalist for this year?
Toby Green.
Now, you know he is missing the first, I think, 4 weeks of the year, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but you've got lots of confidence.
He's going to have a big chip on his shoulder and he's going to want to kick some goals after that.
I just got off the phone with PM Bangers. That was his name, PM Bangers, for the GWS. He's an absolute corker of a bloke, have a listen. But he said, Toby Green, the guy that everybody loves to hate, but would love to have him on his team. There's a lot of love for Toby. How good would it be if he has a full sack of potatoes sitting on his shoulder and he is going to destroy everybody? He'll be kung fu kicking everybody, kicking bags. There wouldn't be anything better, would there?
Yeah, no, I think he'll be in for a big year if he can manage to stop, hurting people for fun.
Yeah, just don't go near the umpires. Just stay away from the ones in any other colour jumper besides your own. Brownlow medalist. Who have you got locked in for a Brownlow?
Jack Steele.
Ooh, nice. What was it about Jack Steele that gets you a little bit excited when you watch him play?
I guess I really like footballers that are just footballers, not athletes converted to footballers. And Jack Steele is a footballer. And the way he carries that team, he's a fantastic leader. I mean, anyone would love him on their team. I think he polled enough last year that I think he can take it to another level. I think Oliver and Petrarca will steal votes from each other, unfortunately. So I think Steele's there to take it.
And
Saints can win enough matches.
I was just about to say, there's no one else to steal votes from him.
Yep.
And the only bloke that did take votes off him is now at Melbourne. So,
well, there you go.
So there you go.
How's that for a freebie, by the way?
Just take him. Just take him. Hey, 11 Brownlow votes in 12 games. We don't need you. But I don't think he was too keen he wasn't too keen to sign on anyway. So he's probably sitting back going, how good is this? I've gone to the reigning premier. I only need one or two of these to go down and my game's going to another level. And I've got the best kicking coach in Mark Williams to finally teach me how to kick, which is a headline. Give you a headline at the end of the year. 2022, end of the season comes along. What's the headline? Front page of the Brisbane Times, Herald Sun for the Brisbane Lions.
Chris Fagan finally breaks finals hoodoo. Gets through to first grand final in 20 years.
Gets through or wins?
Gets through.
Oh, not going too early. Beautiful.
I'll wait for the week after.
You got to wait for as long as they don't do the 2-week wait again. That's a fast. Hey, last question I will ask. Pre-finals bye. Keep it, scrap it.
Scrap it because it's been unkind to us. It's been horribly unkind to us.
No, but I think you got a fair point there. You know, the whole reason to get top 2 or top 4 is to get that second chance and get that week off. As soon as they brought that in, doesn't work for it. Now, what's the go for you for the year? So you're obviously on the radio during the day. What's your sort of setup look up for the next for 2022? Where can people hear about you? Where can people listen? Because they're probably listening on the radio. I listen to this podcast, and I tell you what, I'm sick of listening to Peps. But James Brook, he's got something about him. Where can they tune in, listen to your dulcet tones on a regular basis?
rebelfm.com.au, do a brekkie show every morning from 5 a.m. Queensland time through to 9. And then Saturdays from 11 is the sports show. So a lot of banter when the footy season comes along. We've been chatting a lot of cricket and Super Bowl lately. So pretty keen for the footy season to come back along and start bantering there too.
Beautiful. And I'll be listening too. Hey, quick question, last, not totally non-related. Is cricket dead in Australia?
Short form cricket should be, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask, people are probably listening to me going, this is a football season preview. Why is he asking it? Because they just played a T20 tournament and wasn't even promoted at all.
No one was there in the stands.
How are you supposed to get people to go to a game if you don't actually tell anybody that it's on?
It's no idea.
Cricket Australia. Geez, they just They're the story that just keeps on coming. They'll never, ever leave you with nothing to say. Mr. Brooks, can I just say, you are an absolute gun. It was a pleasure to get you back because you are the foremost expert when it comes to the Brisbane Lions. There's a lot of supporters down here from the old Fitzroy days who love everything about what your mob do. They wear the traditional jumper when they come back to Melbourne, and then we absolutely love it. So I can't thank you enough, but I have to ask you one question, and it's one question only. And if you can remember from last year, you got the question right for $100. Let's see if you can get it right for $200. James Brooks, season 2022 Brisbane Lions previewer. How do you want your footy?
I would love it lace out, Peps.
Team, listeners, how can you not love this guy? Thanks very much, my friend. Enjoy it. Listen, more season previews are going to be coming out. Take care. It's a jungle out there. And the Brisbane Lions, I think you're going to be going very, very close to getting an extra piece of silverware in the cupboard this year.
God, I hope you're right, mate.
Have a good one.
You too, mate.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Lace Out. Head over to iTunes and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And remember, join us every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page with yours truly, Christopher Pepper, and the co-host with the most, Jamie Wallace, giving you your footy how you want it. Lace out.